Welcome to Sticks and Stones. Today we're going to dive into a pairing that is all about contrast and structure. We've got a bold, oak-forward, bottled and bond bourbon masked with a uniquely earthy and kind of spice-driven cigar. It's the kind of pairing that sharpens your palate and evolves with every third of the cigar that you smoke. So let's get right on into it. But before we do, please hit the like, subscribe button, mash all those buttons, ring all the bells, do all that kind of stuff. Your support helps to spread the show. I greatly appreciate it. Now, the spirit we are pairing today is Henry McKenna, bottle and bond, aged 10 years. And the cigar is the CAO Italia. So, straight into the bourbon. We're just hitting on all cylinders. We're ready to go. The spirit is bottle and bond, so it's 100 proof. It's the only way it can be. Can't be 99, can't be 101. 100 proof. It is a single barrel Kentucky straight whiskey. The mash bill is Heaven Hill's kind of traditional bourbon mash bill. We don't have the exact figures, but we kind of know, and that's about 75% corn, so it's going to have a nice sweetness to it. 13% rye, so it's going to have a little bit of spice to it, and 12% malted barley just to round it out. I'm going to move this right here so y'all are all lined up. I like that. Now, the mash bill impact, that moderate kind of rye content delivers a balanced spice, while the high corn percentage provides that kind of rich caramely sweetness, which is the perfect foundation for a contrast pairing. Remember, you have pairings that complement and pairings that contrast. So it's just off of what you're going for. Let's go ahead and bottle some of this up. Love that sound. Love that sound too. Nothing getting in there. First off, look at that in the glass. That is just a beautiful, beautiful color. That nice kind of coppery, amber, whatever, kind of like that. Kind of like my glasses. I have bourbon glasses. Whiskey goggles, I guess. Beer goggles. Anyway, got great legs, clings to the glass very well. On the nose. Oh, yeah. All right. I get some loads of caramel and vanilla, and there's a nice toasted oak in there. There's some light baking spice, and there's just some hints of apple and honey. This is going to be good stuff. I guarantee. All right, on the palate. And just about like I was saying it, you get the sweetness of that high corn content. So as soon as the sip hits your tongue, that's the first thing that you get is this automatic sweetness. But then as the sip travels across your palate, then you start getting that heat, not only the heat from 100 proof, but also the heat from the rye, the spice from the rye. And so you get this there as it goes across your palate, you get this nice kind of growing wave of spice and tannin. The finish is long, it's warming, it's oak forward, it's got a lingering spice, some light dryness, classic bottled and bond structure. Some people kind of they're like, bottle and bond. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. They're just, you're following the federal guidelines of the Alcohol Act of 1894, whatever it was. So it has to meet certain criteria, and they've really made a big deal about bottle and bond here lately. I think 4 years it's a minimum age. This is 10, so does it really matter? It just all depends on the person, really. As I always say, whiskey and cigars, or spirits and cigars in general, are very subjective. What do you like? So I'm gonna have another sip. Wow. And just so everybody knows, I am broadcasting on X and YouTube off of Rumble. So we're on Rumble as well. That's kind of hit or miss. Some days we are, some days we aren't. Uh, it just depends on Rumble. That's it's pretty much the answer. I get you. All right. Now, the CAO Italia. This is a beautiful candy bar looking stick. I mean, it's got a fairly good hefty ring gauge on it, so it does actually kind of look like a candy bar with a wrapper around it. Um, the binder and filler of this stick is Italian grown tobacco that is a unique regional leaf. Okay. And the wrapper is a Honduran Habano seed. So there you go. As you can tell, it is a very well constructed stick. It's a nice dark kind of milk chocolate brown. It's got, minimal, minimal to moderate veining, nothing extremely pronounced. Uh, no, really. I see a little bit of, I see just a little bit of the seam at the top, but when you get down to the foot of the stick, I don't see any seam at all. It's invisible. So great construction, and it has a very large double cap. Now, and it's got a really nice firm pack to it. Slightly resistant. I think we're going to have a nice even burn, some medium kind of smoke output, and hopefully the ash holds pretty well. I'm notorious for the ash falling in my lap. Anyway, on the nose, you get these wonderful notes of fresh earth and dry cocoa, like cocoa powder. You get some hay and a little subtle spiciness. And then I almost want to say that there is sort of a liquory, spirity kind of note just kind of floating there in the background, but I can't, it's really hard to pin down. But I do kind of catch it. All right, let's go ahead and give it a cut. I got pool to do. So, and people are coming. Mama told me I had to get this done quick, so I'm getting it done quick. Perfect V cut uh, on the cold draw. Get some great notes of kind of a raisiny, dry fruit kind of sweetness. There's some dried wood in there, a little bit of light pepper, and just a faint kind of natural sweetness. So it's a really good stick. I'm telling you, really good stick. I've smoked a few of them. Go ahead and torch it up. I'm using the Cigar double torch today. Uh, my 4-torch I have out here, I ran it out of butane yesterday and didn't get in there to get it refilled. I've noticed something that is very minor, but if you're a cigar smoker, you can actually appreciate it, and that is I've lit it. The band is already loose. How many times have you gone getting a cigar like almost down to the band, and you go to take the band off of it, and part of the wrapper comes off with it? Very minor thing, but it means something to cigar smokers. They don't want the last few puffs to be messed up. All right. I get it's really uh, a lot like the nose. Uh, you get this nice earthiness, and then there's some hay in there. I don't get any real fruitiness at all. There was, a little raisin on the nose, but or on the cold draw, but there's not any uh, in the burn. There's a little light pepper that kind of gives it a little oomph, and then on the retro hail, I get a little bit of pepper and a nice lemony kind of sweetness. And to be a darker stick, um, I feel like it's not overwhelming at all. This might be a good one that people that have, as I always say, started off with their training wheels on and started with the or the light Connecticut wrappers and things like that. It might be a nice one you could step up into a little bit darker wrapper on. So keep that in your pocket. All right, let's try them together. Almost immediately, the bourbon starts filling the gaps in the palate of the cigar with some caramel and a nice body where the cigar is kind of dry. And that contrast creates more of a complete and well-rounded kind of opening experience. Pretty good. This is not a huge smoke producer. Um, it is a little lighter on the smoke production side, but it does okay. It's very easy to draw. It's just not a lot of smoke there. I'm gonna touch it up. It's been pretty wavy. See if maybe it was my lighting. Uh, Hit it with a single torch here and kind of get it even. All right, now we'll go from there. But smoke's still hanging around. It's still there. Doesn't really mean anything, but some of them, the smoke is so light that it just whiffs away pretty quick. Yeah, I do really like these together. Um, I don't think you could go with anything with much more heat and spice than this bottled and bond. I don't think you could get very far above 100 before you would wash out the cigar. It is one of those, it's like a delicate balance there because it's not really overpowering. Uh, and the Henry McKenna, it's aged for those extra years. That makes it a little bit smoother. And so those nice caramels and vanillas just go in there and just fill up all the gaps in the palate of the cigar. It's pretty good pairing. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I think this would be, and I think you could go down the scale uh, below 100 proof with some of the more, um, I won't say generic, but uh, like regular Maker's Mark, regular Jack Daniels, that kind of thing, regular Buffalo Trace, and regular Heaven Hill, whatever, Jim Beam, and you get those like 90s, those 90 numbers. You're still going to have enough structure that you can fill in those gaps in the cigar without the cigar overpowering the stick. So, you know, you got to experiment around with it and see what works for you. But it's a pretty good little pairing here. It is. Um, I think the Henry McKenna was somewhere around $50, and the stick I got a 5 pack of them for maybe $20. I don't remember exactly. Maybe even been less than that. Uh, so it's not a budget buster. CAO's well-known brand. So this will be a great afternoon just like this. You sit out here, cigar will probably last you about 45, 50 minutes. Get to enjoy the outside while you're smoking on a nice cigar. You know. All right, let me go ahead and give you the rest of this so y'all can get on with your Saturday, and I can hit the pool. Um, as you get more towards the midway mark in that second third, you will find that this kind of evolves and the pairing locks in. The McKenna's oak and spice really mirror the cigar structure, while that sweetness keeps the experience from becoming too dry. And this is where the pairing will really hit its stride. It's that balanced tension between sweet and dry. And then as you get more towards the end of the cigar, that final third, the cigar leans more into earth and charred wood and some intensified spice with a slightly tannic kind of edge to it. Overall, the bourbon's proof and sweetness to soften the cigar's sharper edges, preventing the bitterness while maintaining complexity. Um, the finish becomes really oak driven and structured and refined rather than harsh. Um, I think the Italian grown tobaccos gives the tobacco gives the CAO Italia its distinct kind of dry, earthy, and slightly herby character, which contrasts beautifully with the bourbon sweetness, creating a pairing that is built on tension and balance rather than similarity. As I said, compare, contrast. So I don't think I use the word compare though. Complement and contrast. There we go. Overall, as I said, this is a contrast driven pairing that really kind of evolves into harmony. The bourbon brings that richness and sweetness, while the cigar provides dryness and structure, resulting in a really dynamic kind of palate engaging experience. I think you would, I think you would probably enjoy it. My final verdict: I would give the Henry McKenna 10-year bottled and bond an 8.9 out of 10. It's got a rich, kind of oak forward, well structured, kind of classic caramel sweetness and balanced spice. It's a strong standalone bourbon that brings both depth and versatility. The cigar, the CAO Italia, I give it an 8.6 out of 10. It's unique and character driven with dry earth and spice and some subtle herbal complexity. Um, may not always be a crowd pleaser, but it is highly engaging for the seasoned palate. Overall, I would give this pairing like 8.9 or 9.0 out of 10. Uh, as I've been saying, the pairing kind of thrives on contrast, the bourbon sweetness and body, fill in the cigar's dryness, while the cigar sharpens the bourbon's oak and spice. The result is a really nice, structured, evolving experience that stays balanced from the first strike of the fire to the final draw. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please hit like, subscribe, share, notify, ring all the bells, blow all the whistles, do all that kind of stuff. Hit the subscribe button, especially on X. You subscribe to me on X for $1 a month. You would have gotten my pre-show notes 3 days ago. You would have already had an idea what was going to happen. So until we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, your stones cold. Have a great day.